Unless we change our thinking. Yuval Harari just opened the WEF,
Right.
and I think it was in 2022. He said, unless there's a change in thinking, we most probably are the last generation of pure humans that the universe will ever know, unless we exist somewhere else. I think we're worth preserving. I think we're about to give away our humanness, and we don't even know what it means to be human. We don't even know what we're giving away. So that's why I'm very passionate about the book. Even if we weren't talking about the book, I think it's important for us to recognize that evil has so many forms, and they're subtle forms. So there are people who are predisposed psychologically to greed and to power. They're pawns, but these are the ones that we see publicly.
Technologies like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, robotics, and nanotechnology are on the brink of transforming our world in ways we've never imagined before. We are entering an era where digital and physical realities are merging, and the distinction between the two is becoming increasingly blurred. Virtual reality is advancing at an astonishing rate, and soon, our brains might not even be able to tell the difference between what's real and what's virtual, especially with the growing exploration into directly connecting to our sensory nerves. Meanwhile, AI is evolving rapidly, and as it begins to write increasingly sophisticated versions of itself, we are entering a new phase where its intelligence could soon surpass that of the human brain, possibly as soon as 2029 according to futurist Ray Kurzweil. This rapid exponential growth in AI means that we may quickly find ourselves debating what intelligence is and what it means to be alive, as AI could become a new form of life on Earth altogether.
Now you look at what is happening. There's a concerted effort to break the social bonds that have always held societies together. Now it's really tricky the way it's happening, because they're important topics. 2014, the Occupy movement, the rich against the poor. That's a real problem. It is real. We need to talk about it, but here's the thing. We need to talk about it in a kind way so that we can solve the problem, become a better society for it. It was weaponized to divide us rather than used to bring us together. Then the same thing happened, men against women in the Me Too movement. Really important. We need to talk about. These are real problems. It was weaponized to divide us, to break that social bond and our trust and our confidence. The same thing is now happening against Christians against Muslims, blacks against whites, Jews against Muslims, men against women, adults against children. Now it's the gender conversation. Every one of these is important, and every one is being weaponized to divide us. We're breaking the social bonds that have strengthened us as a society. Now they're going after religion. And when you have no social bonds left, when there's nothing left to trust, you become very vulnerable as a society to the ideas and the agendas of others. And you're seeing this concerted, you put this all together. I'm a systems thinker. A systems thinker looks at the big picture and then goes to the nanosecond of where we fit into that big picture. The big picture is that we are all casualties of these systems that are being put into place that are not good for us. And so you have to say, if they're not good for humans, who are they good for? That's a whole conversation we can have. But the point is, now the attack is on our very humanness, to separate us from our own. The human is defined by our genetics. When we begin to give our biology away to technology, we give our humanness away. Humanness is the link to the divinity. We give away our ability for empathy, sympathy, compassion, love, all of these things. What kind of a society do we become? It's when we become part of the internet of all things.
Oh, singularity.
The singularity.
Yeah, okay,
I'm sorry. So what he says is by the year, and he identified 2030, he said, when you talk to somebody in the street, you won't be talking to a pure human. You will be talking to someone who's a human-machine hybrid to some degree.
Some people love that idea.
But by the year 20, because they don't know what they're giving away.
Steve wants robot cops.
They don't know what they're giving away.
Steve wants the cops to be robots. AI.
I don't care about the cops out there. I don't want the technology in my body.
Right.
And this is the thing. I was just in L.A. and there's robot cars everywhere.
I know, it's crazy.
It was. They pulled up next to me and I waved and they didn't wave back.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty wild.
It's so wild. That's in Texas too, I think.
Yeah. Kurzweil says by the year 2045 is when we will all become part of the internet of all things, where all of our resources, all the animals of the earth are all digital. Everything we eat, everything that we consume, our bodies are all, unless there's a change in thinking. The purpose of this book pure human, was to identify that these things are happening, number one, for an awareness, hopefully to develop a deeper appreciation for what it means, and even a pride for what it means to be a human, because our humanness is being denigrated in our schools today. Young people are taught that we are flawed. From the moment we're born, we are flawed species, and we need something outside of us to be the best version of ourselves and to compete in the world. And that something is being touted as technology. And young people are all in because no one has taught them that they are a rare, powerful, beautiful, precious form of life that's not the result of random mutations over a long period of time. There's an intentional act in our genome that is very well documented with the fusions of chromosome 2 or chromosome number 7. These are not, they cannot happen in nature. There's an intentional act underlying all of these things, but nobody's telling our young people this. So unless we change our thinking, Yuval Harari just opened the WEF, and I think it was in 2022. He said, unless there's a change in thinking, we most probably are the last generation of pure humans that the universe will ever know, unless we exist somewhere else. We're the last generation. I think we're worth preserving. I think we're about to give away our humanness, and we don't even know what it means to be human. We don't even know what we're giving away because we're only beginning to understand what these capacities and these capabilities are all about. So that's why I'm very passionate about the book. And even if we weren't talking about the book, I think it's important for us to recognize that evil has so many forms, and they're subtle forms. So there are people who are predisposed psychologically to greed and to power. They're pawns, and they're not necessarily smart pawns, but these are the ones that we see publicly. And they are succumbing to the opportunity to indulge in their own vices, in their vice of power, their vice of control. But ultimately, we're going to go right back. That scroll that I talked about, that we began talking about, it goes even further. It says there will be 7 battles between the sons of darkness and the sons of light. 6 will be won by the sons of light, 6 by the sons of darkness. I'm sorry, 3 by the sons of light, 3 by the sons of darkness. That's only 6. The 7th battle, it says the sons of light prevail, but here's the catch. They prevail with divine intervention and through their own divinity. Through us accepting our own power, we prevail. So what does this mean? This isn't the kind of, when you think about battles, people think about the old idea where there's like force against force. That's obsolete. That's what keeps us stuck in the battle. We don't want to win this battle. We want to triumph. And triumph is different than winning. To triumph, it means we rise above. And how do you triumph in this battle? By becoming the best version of yourself. That's it. Living the best version of yourself. Where's your joy come from? And live it without fear. Love without fear. Imagine, innovate, create, share your ideas, forgive, heal your own body, because that is our birthright. This is how we triumph, because when you do that, you've defeated the evil that is trying to keep you from being the best version of yourself.
Totally.
As technology advances at an unprecedented rate, we face a future where humanity may be on the verge of becoming the last generation of pure humans. The rapid developments in AI, biotechnology, and human-machine integration raise profound questions about what it means to be human. Gregg Braden suggests that the trajectory we're on could lead to a future where humans, as we know them, no longer exist in their biological form. With advancements like genetic engineering and brain-machine interfaces, humanity is slowly merging with technology. The concern is that, in our pursuit of enhancement and immortality, we might lose the very essence of our humanity. If we continue down this path, we may be left with a hybrid human-machine existence, a new life form, with some questioning whether the pure human experience will become a thing of the past. If you're still watching this video, it means you're loving it. Why not take a quick second to hit that like button? Done it? Let's continue. This concept of being the last generation of pure humans isn't just about physical changes but also the potential loss of what makes us uniquely human, our emotions, instincts, and the biological processes that have evolved over millennia. Gregg Braden highlights that the blending of human and artificial intelligence could shift our identity, as the very qualities that define us are slowly replaced by technology. If we continue to allow technology to define who we are, we may no longer recognize ourselves. As AI becomes more advanced and begins to think and evolve beyond our comprehension, the conversation will shift from simply upgrading human capabilities to questioning whether we are losing touch with our true nature.
Unless we recognize the context, it's very easy to get sucked into the drama of the individual rots, like a presidential election or like a war in Ukraine or whatever, financial collapse, banks collapse, you know. So let me just begin, and you can't make this stuff up. I'm going to go back. I'm a student of ancient texts, as I mentioned, and when I was a kid, one of the big mysteries was the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, they were discovered, the first scrolls were discovered 1946-47 in Qumran. I know you've had experts on here that know way more than I do about this, so I apologize if I'm redundant to your viewers.
No, don't apologize.
I don't know exactly what he said, so let me just go over this. The scrolls were first found in a cave in Qumran, 46-47. There are 11 caves. Actually, they're still discovering them. They're still 2023. They just discovered more fragments of the scrolls. And
there's a lot of fakes too.
Another cave, but there are caves. They continue to excavate these caves, and they've found more. So you can't make this up. It was in cave number 1. So the first cave and the first vase that they found, and these are not little, bell jars. I mean, these are big clay vases.
They're bigger than this.
No, they're like this tall, and they were sealed with tar and pitch, and that's what kept the scrolls in the dry desert environment. In the first cave, the first scroll that was pulled, the first vase that was pulled out, and the first scroll that came out of that is the reason I'm going to say this, and it will be the context for everything we're going to talk about for the rest of this conversation. That scroll spells out very clearly. It's called the War Scroll, 19 columns, and it spells out very clearly that we continue today. We are living an ancient battle that began with the first of our kind, the first human that emerged onto this earth 200,000 years ago. 10,000 generations ago is when we appeared. When the first of our kind appeared, we were born into an ancient battle that continues to this day. And the very language, this is the exact language, is a battle between what is called the sons of darkness and the sons of light. I had a program recently and I shared that, and there was a woman in the audience who was very offended because she thought it was sexist. So
sexist.
Because they didn't.
Their sons?
Because of sons. And what I want to say is that 2,500 years ago, sons included men and women. They didn't. They didn't have the gender conversation going on that we've got going on right now. Right. So we are living. These scrolls, are they ancient? Yes. Are they obsolete? No. We are living right now the battle between the sons of darkness and the sons of light, and that battle is playing out in terms people are more familiar with in terms of what we call good and evil. Now, the battle ebbs and flows throughout time. The reason that we're seeing the emphasis on so much evil in our lives, and there are different kinds of evil, and we can talk about that, is because we're barreling down this path toward a convergence point that has been identified as the year 2030.
Right.
So 2030, United Nations has identified this, World Economic Forum has identified this date. There is an event that will happen during that time. And what you're seeing is the powers that be jockeying for position to be in the best place and before we get to that point. This is why you're seeing a concerted effort for the remaking of the world in a way that we've never seen before. I mean, we could do this whole program on how the proposals are to remake the world through the UN Sustainable Goals, SDG 2030, the 17 goals, in partnership with the WEF. That's a whole conversation. What sets now apart from any other time, we've always had the ability to change our world. You mentioned this, because the technology's advanced so quickly.
Yeah.
We now have the ability not only to change the world around us, but now to change the world within us. And there's a concerted effort to replace our humanness with technology within these it's been going on, but we're going to see a doubling down on this within the next 5 years by the year 2030. Computer chips in the brain, RFID chips under the skin are already being used in a lot of European countries now. Chemicals in the blood to replace our natural biological functions, including our immune system. Nanobots circulating in the respiratory system. We have all of this technology now. And here's the thing. It's being marketed. I know it's happening, and I'm still in awe of how sexy the marketing is. The way this stuff is being presented to young people especially, or to grown-ups, to adults, is that it makes life easier. It gives us more security. If you got RFID chips in your body, you can never get lost, can't be trafficked. All that's true. What is the price that we're going to pay? At what price do we want to bring this efficiency and the speed of this information processing into our lives? So what we're asking is, what do we give away when we give away our biology? And this is the reason. The battle between the sons of darkness and the sons of light. I'm going to use a word. I know we're covering a lot of ground. I'm going to bring it all together. I'm going to use a word that we haven't used. It means different things to different people. So let me use it and then I'll define it. It's a battle for our bodies, for our very humanness, Danny, because there is something within us that is so ancient and so beautiful and so powerful and so precious that nations will go to war against nations to keep us distracted from this essence of ourselves. Societies will be collapsed, climate will be engineered, pandemics will be unleashed, lies will be told. All of those things are important, but they are distractions, they're diversions that are keeping us from this essence, this force. The human body is the link to something that is called our divinity. Now, divinity to many people has something to do with religion, but the contemporary definition, you look up contemporary definition, divinity, it simply is the ability to transcend perceived limitations, and that's it.
Right.
Transcend means to become more than. Perceived, and I love this, it means we may be living limits in our lives that aren't even true, limits that we've been indoctrinated to accept through family, society, religion, culture, science, those limits. So our ability to be the best version of ourselves is the goal, limiting us from the ability to be the best version of ourselves, limiting us from the ability to heal our own bodies, limiting us. So what is divinity? Divinity is the part of us that's timeless, it's ageless. It's where our imagination begins. It's where our creativity begins. It's where our love begins. Sympathy, empathy, compassion, healing, all are functions of human divinity. If the powers that be want to change a world, we are much more vulnerable when we lose access to our divinity, when we lose access to our ability to heal our own bodies, to our ability to imagine and communicate what we're imagining and to create and innovate, all of those things. So there's a concerted effort right now.
In the not-so-distant future, we may witness a world where the lines between humanity and technology are so blurred that the concept of being human as we understand it today will no longer exist. Imagine a society where artificial intelligence, deeply integrated into every aspect of our lives, has surpassed human intellect, making decisions for us, solving problems in seconds that would have taken us years, and perhaps even controlling entire systems of governance. Human brains could be directly connected to machines, allowing us to upload our consciousness into virtual realms where we can experience limitless realities, no longer bound by the constraints of our physical bodies. Advances in genetic engineering could eliminate disease, aging, and perhaps even death itself, creating a new era where human life extends far beyond the natural lifespan. However, this technological utopia could come with its own set of challenges. The question of what it means to be truly human will become more pressing as we integrate with AI and machines. As our biological limits fade, the lines between organic and synthetic could become so indistinct that we may no longer be able to distinguish between human minds and artificial ones. With that transformation, humanity will face a new existential dilemma. Will we still have the empathy, compassion, and emotional depth that make us uniquely human, or will we become more machine than man? If you found this message compelling, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with others, subscribe to our channel, and turn on post notifications for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for watching.